thing to do its thing. Hello, we're ready. Yeah.
Hello everybody. Really lovely to see you here at Market Harborough Library for our fantastic Jane Clarke event. Jane's a local author, so I'm sure you'll have lots of time to talk to her later about her books. But today, just before I tell you what we're going to be doing, a little bit of housekeeping. If you need the toilet, it's right down the end, just on the right, and I can show you if you want me to. Now, we're not expecting a fire drill, but just follow us if the fire alarm goes off. There are exits at the end there, the door you came in, and one at the far end. Just follow us. Okay, so Jane is going to be showing you lots of lovely crafts today when she's talked to you about her books. And we're going to make the two main things we're going to make are wormery, and we're also going to be making a butterfly feeder today. So two different things, a little bit different from what we thought we were going to make. And then there'll be one extra little activity if you finish those in time. So I'm going to hand you over to Jane now. She'll start. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Kim. Well, it's lovely to be here, and hello to people who are at home and looking at this.
Give everyone a wave.
Wow. So let's all wave to the people who might be looking at home or later.
Thank you.
Hi. So I'm Jane, and I've written quite a lot of books and stories. I think Lottie, the latest Lottie book, which comes out next week, is my 127th book. So you won't find that quite in the shops yet because it's out next week. But I was talking to you earlier, and you were telling me that you'd been here last year or the year before, rather, it would have been, for an Owl's Awesome Science session. And because Lottie is the twin sister of Owl, so now she has her own series. Owl was mad about science, Lottie's mad about wildlife, and this year's summer reading challenge is our Wild World Heroes challenge. And Lottie is definitely a wild world hero because she helps every little thing. She knows that every little thing matters, and it's not just huge animals in Africa and things, it's every little tiny thing, starting off with your garden. And if you start helping wildlife in your garden and near where you live, in your school and things, then you are helping not only wildlife, you're helping the planet. So it's something that everybody can do. So let me introduce you to Lottie by telling you that there's now someone new in the series, and if you didn't know before, you will know that there's Lottie and Owl, and they're twins, and they live with their mum, who's called Mrs. Boffin, and they have a dog, a very slobbery dog called Einstein, and now they have inherited a parrot from their great aunt. Left them a parrot called Nacho. And Nacho is a macaw.
Macaw?
Yeah, that sort of parrot called a macaw.
I thought it was a macaw.
That's right. And and it's a big grown-up parrot because it's quite old. Did you know that parrots can live to 90 or 100, even 100 years old? They are really, really long-lived pets. And of course, they like to imitate things. And one of the first things that Nacho did when he came to live with Lottie was that he started to bark like a dog, like Einstein. Woof! So that made Einstein a bit upset. So there was just a lot of barking going on. And he also he has his cage in their house, but he's also a free flyer. So he's able to go off and circle round over the next door neighbour's garden, and I'm afraid occasionally poop upon it. So he does get into trouble with the next door neighbours. And for those of you who don't know the Owl or the Lottie series, what they have is a story, and it's usually quite a silly story that involves them getting into trouble. And there's also lots of facts. So in the case of the Lottie books, there's lots of wildlife facts. And Lottie, we were talking about a competition earlier, Lottie is actually trying for something because her favourite show on TV or on iPlayer is, she knows something called Every Little Thing. You won't find it if you look for it because I made it up. But it's presented by someone called Samira Breeze, and Lottie wants to be exactly like her. Lottie Boffin gently pushed her parrot off her nature notebook. Nacho flapped up on her shoulder and nibbled at her ear. Lottie smiled. Ever since she'd inherited the macaw that her great-aunt Prue had rehomed from a rescue centre, Nacho had decided she was his new best friend. It's hard to stick sunflower seeds onto the page when you're trying to scrunch them up, Lottie murmured, scratching Nacho's feathery head. She glanced at the TV. Samira Breeze, her favourite wildlife presenter in the whole wide world, was winding up her show Every Little Thing. Every little thing matters, Sam was saying. Do our mini bee survey and see if you can attract more bugs into your garden, especially bees and butterflies. And don't forget to send in your nature notes for a chance to be a wildlife presenter on our annual wildlife adventure. I'm working on it right now, Lottie exclaimed. She fizzed with excitement every time she thought of that prize. She loved nature and it was her dream to be a wildlife presenter. She'd already set up a mini-bee survey yesterday evening. She'd found Mum's stash of jam jars and dug little holes for them all over the back garden. It was time to check what had fallen in. So, a couple of things here before we really get started. I haven't really got a nature notebook, but when I'm doing a series or something, I like to stick things in a book that I might find useful or I might like to use for my stories. So you might like, if you're making up stories yourself, I sometimes put notes in as well. You might like to ask your grown-up if you can cut things out, or I do things like that and make little notes for myself. So I get all sorts of information that I will stick in here and in a book, and I will use. But Lottie, she's doing a wildlife notebook, so she'll have a notebook and she's sticking in things in like sunflower seeds, and you could stick in dried leaves, all sorts of things, and make sketches. So you might like to do that yourself. So she has set up in her garden a bug survey. She's got jam jars. You can use yogurt pots. What you do is you go out, and you might be able to do it in a park if you haven't got a garden, is dig a hole, and you have to dig the hole big enough that your jam jar or your yogurt pot will go right in. So the top of it is level with the soil. And you put these jam jars or yogurt pots in the soil at the end of the day. So before you go to bed, as long as you know it's not really going to rain overnight. So check with your grown-up to see what the weather forecast is. If it's very wet, it's much better to get up early in the morning and put them in the garden, because any little thing that gets in there might drown if it filled right up. You know that rain we had last week? If anything had been in a yogurt pot or a jam jar, it would probably have drowned. So we don't want that. But just to discover what you've got in your garden. Now, I did this a couple of weeks ago, and I found all sorts of things. Who wants to guess what I found? What do you think I found? I did. I found one special sort of beetle. It's a red one with black spots. So it was a ladybird or a ladybug. Yeah, I found one beetle.
Wow.
I did. I found worms. Yes, worms come out particularly at night, and worms are really important, and that's why we're going to be doing a wormery, so you can see why worms are really important in a minute or two. And I found, anybody else like to guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. I did. I found a spider, and I found a spider. Anybody know how many legs spiders have? Yes.
8.
You do. You are experts. Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
you might have found maybe a bee in there.
I didn't find a bee in there. I think maybe one went in and it buzzed out again. But yeah, I found it was 2 centipedes as well. So yeah, centipedes are really quite interesting. I'll just draw you a centipede, because you might not know about centipedes. How many legs do you think a centipede has?
Yeah.
They have body segments. So if you draw one, I'm really bad at drawing. I didn't draw anything like that. If you draw a centipede, a really strange thing about a centipede, and centi comes from a Latin word which means, sorry,
Know about that, but it kind of looks like a caterpillar.
it does look very like a caterpillar. Each segment of a centipede has 2 legs. Cent means 100, but you know something really strange? You never find a centipede with 100 legs, because each segment has 2 legs, and there we go, 2 legs, and there's always an odd number of segments. There might be, oh, say 15 segments, which would make 30 legs. There might be a lot more than that. You can get them with 90 legs. Some of them grow more legs as they grow. Some of them, when they hatch out, have the same number of legs the whole time. And I think they're fascinating creatures. If a predator, a bird or something, nips a leg off, they can regrow a leg, which is amazing. And the difference between a centipede and a millipede, which has even more legs, is that each segment on a centipede has 1 pair of legs, that's 2. Each segment on a millipede has 2 pairs of legs, so 4. So there's even more legs there. So do have a look at that on there. Now, for those of you who are here, I thought to remind everybody that we have 8 legs for a spider. Everybody could do a quick spider, and I think I will give those. Or maybe you've got your hands already sanitized, haven't you? Do you think you could give everybody the spider kit? And those who are at home can be drawing a centipede and any other thing that they might find in there. We already said there was a ladybug. I'll do a ladybug there. There it is. Ladybugs have or ladybirds.
Has 6 legs.
You are absolutely right. You are a leg expert. And it's really, really strange. But one of the things that I have to do when I get my books back and the illustrators illustrated them is count legs to make sure that I've got the right number of legs on things. So an insect has 6 legs, an arachnid, which is a really strange name.
Yeah, I knew it was
An arachnid has 8 legs. So I will draw a spider for the people who are watching in a minute. But what you do, I've got you should have a long one, and you should have 4 short ones. So put the 4 short ones together, and then wrap the long one round so you've got a nice big fat body for your spider. And then you might be able to fake out your grandma, but you will also remember that you've got 8 legs on the spider. So when you've got it all wrapped up, and mine's got a bit skew with, if you bend them so they're a slight L shaped, then they look even better. So your grown up will help you. I shouldn't really help you, I'm afraid, because normally I would, as you know, but because of the germ, we will be careful. Here we are. Oh, a delightful spider. And those of you who haven't got pipe cleaners, we'll have a spider here with 8 legs. I'm going to give it nice long legs, this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs. A spider. So we've got a centipede. We've got what we call in England a ladybird. I've got American granddaughter, so they call it ladybugs. A spider. And I forgot, I also found an earwig. Earwig. Do you know earwigs are the most amazing mothers?
I keep finding earwigs.
Do you?
Ooh.
Did you know that they are really, really good mothers? They really look after their baby earwigs. They let the baby earwigs live with them for quite a long time. I'm going to give it a little bit of emphasis there. That's an earwig. We don't need to be scared of earwigs. one of my little granddaughters in the UK, I was there at the weekend. She found an earwig in her room. Oh boy, the scream. It was huge. What I do is I get a glass and I put the glass over it, and then I use a card and I just popped it over.
Sometimes we do that with spiders.
Do you do that with spiders?
And
Yes.
they want. I made the spider one.
If your daddy's scared of a spider, you have to get it out for him. Yeah.
I made my hand a spider. Me too.
Whoa, yes. And of course, if you got home, you could make a nice web for it, couldn't you? And then stick it. So you could draw a web and stick it on. Or well, actually, it's much easier if you do the web bit first, and then go round. That's a very bad way. You can see why I don't illustrate my own books, can't you? Fortunately, somebody who's really good illustrates it. So, yes, and worms are in, I found it in my survey. If you do a survey, a bug survey, in your garden, Lottie did put 3 jam jars out. She put them out in different places and she made a note where they were. So she put one by the pond, one in the flower beds, one in the lavender bush. Now you won't necessarily have those things. And then she drew a little picture down the side of what she found and the number that she found. It will often depend how damp the weather is. For instance, if it's quite damp, you'll probably find quite a lot of slugs and snails, unless you're really lucky and you have a garden that hasn't got an awful lot of them. But in the hot weather, snails just go inside their shell, and it's a bit like hibernation, only it's called aestivation, and you can see a little membrane across it, and they're just waiting till it gets
in the cold.
Hibernation is usually in the cold, isn't it? That's right. Yes, and aestivation is when it's warmer. So you can make yourself, for your nature notebook, a survey of what you find in there. Now, do we know why bugs and worms are important? Who knows? At the back. They do. They eat dead things, and they help clean up our planet. Yes.
They help the garden grow.
They absolutely do help the garden grow, especially worms. Yeah.
And worms eat soil and kind of like poop it.
They do. They eat soil and poop it out. You are a worm expert. Did you know that worms have been around since the dinosaurs? Yes, it's the time of the dinosaurs. We wouldn't be able to grow all the things that we grow if it wasn't for worms, because the earth would be too hard. It would be like rocks, because the worms go through and they muddle everything up and they make air holes and water holes, don't they, in the soil? Yeah. So what we're going to do, and it's important to, I think, observe to learn things. So we're going to make a wormery. I haven't brought any worms. You're going to have to supply your own worms when you get home. But what we're going to do is make the wormery so that you can see the sort of work that worms do under the ground that we wouldn't usually notice. Because you've been sitting there long enough, so I think it's time that you got up and we did a wormery. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about that and hear a bit more about it. So now, we're all supposed to be very careful, aren't we, about getting too close and things, even now. So I'm going to put this on. I hope that's okay, Victoria. And there we go. What you will need is this. You will need, and these are take this off for a minute, couldn't I? These are recycled. In other words, we're using it again. Plastic, they've been mostly bottles of drinks, and I've been bugging my friends for them for several weeks since I knew that we had these, and I'm just bugging, get it, yeah. And I've just cut the top off. You can use the tops, you can put them in plants and use them to help water plants or use them as funnels and things, but I haven't brought those along today. So you're going to need one of these. They're all slightly different shapes and sizes. Oh, that one got away, it hadn't been cut off. So make sure you've got one that's been cut off. So in a moment, you'll be coming to get one of those. Oh, well, we've got our lovely people over here who are already sanitized. Yay! So if you could give somebody responsibility for those, you get, and of course you'll be taking these home, and you get a wooden spoon, and you can take that home and use it to dig for worms later. So you could give one of those out as well. And right, over here in a minute, when we've all got it, poor spiders getting buried in the bottom. So. Okay, and I'll need one as well, please. So, lovely, thank you very much. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and show you what I'm doing. So, okay, we have over here, we have some gravel, and we have some soil, and we have some sand. The first thing is going to be the gravel, and I'm going to put, sorry Victoria, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spoonfuls of that in. And then I'm going to go to the soil. Oh, we seem to have got extras. Bring your own spoon with you and use it for all of them. Okay, the soil, you can choose how much you put in. So you might only want to put 3 in and then press it down like that. Push, 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 push. Okay, now this is the stuff I'm not being very nice to worms for because they don't particularly like sand, but it serves a purpose. It's going to show you the way the worms go through. But try not to use too much sand, so maybe 1, just sprinkle over the top so that you, maybe 2 actually, just so that you can see that you've got a layer. And then go back to the sand and make it like a yummy worm sandwich, but this time put a bit more soil in. So, and press it all down again. There we go. And then we do another bit of sand, and then we carry on and do another bit of soil. So what you will have is gravel always goes at the bottom, then we've got earth, sand, earth, sand, earth. Stop with the earth, stop about there. Yeah, so you've got a couple of layers of sand and you've got the earth. So now I know some people who are in families all know each other from already from school. So shall we see what sort of groups we've got? So you came as a 3, didn't you? Yeah. Would you like to start? Okay. And just when they've got their gravel, I can say, how can you do this? Actually, I can say go backwards and forwards. Maybe you just have to sorry, for the more layers. Thank you for being patient. Now, those of you who are waiting, at the end, you will need a notice on your bottle that says something like worms at work, because you don't want anybody to disturb the worms. So you can start by doing your label until it's your turn to go there. You can say busy worms or whatever. I could just put worms at work. So this is a sticky label, but do not stick it on your bottle.
No, you leave that.
for you, and you can come and
need this soil.
I'll be giving you one of those.
It's also at the moment.
Check with your brother if you're not sure which side you should be writing on.
There we go.
Because it will grown ups, it will just stick you on. Okay. Right. Well, you might want to put your name, like Jane's Worms at Work, keep off, or anything like that. So, write your labels. Oh, William's Worms, that's wonderful, isn't it? William's wonderful worms. We're just doing a label because it won't be obvious what's going on. So you might want to put wonderful worms at work. But don't stick it straight onto your bottle. Okay, I think we've got the next people. Oh, sorry, Victoria.
It's okay.
Okay. Right, one more layer. And because you know how grandmas can be, they'll come into your house and they'll start cleaning up and they might throw your worms away. In the meantime, Nacho can come and have a look and see. Lovely. Nice. Stay away, that's a good one. Stay away, worms at work. That would be good. Or you could put shush, in case they get scared and it's too noisy. Okay. And we have, who's ready to mess up? Oh, that's okay, but somebody else can come now. Would you like to go up? Yeah, that's great, thank you. And yeah, because what you're doing is a sticky label, but don't stick it on your bottle yet. Don't stick it on your bottle. You will see why you're not sticking it on the bottle in a minute. Worms at work, or shush, stay away, or whatever you like. Okay. Yes. Oh, and would somebody else like to go on? Are you ready, William? Yeah. Take it. That's it. Lovely. We've got Pim over there sorting everybody out. Okay. Right. And you might want to draw a few words on your label. Even I could draw a worm. Do a nice wiggly one. Let's do more worms. There we go. Yes, I might put shh as well. Not that that's strictly necessary. Worms don't really mind that noise. And if you've got somebody that is nosy, you might want to put keep off grandma. I'm a nosy grandma, I would want to see it. Keep off grandma. There we go. Right, and oh yes, we've got room on the gravel for the next person. Yep. Yes, and how are we doing there? Excellent. Push us. That's super. Put your name on it as well, just in case we get the muddled up on the floor. Right. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. Okay. Come on over. If you can be the other side. Right, lovely. Okay, that's it. You start with the gravel. Thank you for making so patiently.
I'll do
And you can also have yourself to a bookmark and a card from me there. And have those with your worms at work labels. There were some excellent things here.
I'm not going to get one.
That's all right. Now, for those of you who have got your wormery ready, I am going to put in a minute some delicious worms. Great job, everyone. That's it. Put it down and put the next layer in. Okay, perfect. Thank you for waiting. You can go back and put some more in a bit. Get it in as well. Yeah. So, yeah, you don't have to do it right now because we'll be doing other things as well. So put another layer of sand and another layer of earth on there in a minute when there's a little bit of space. You can do that while I'm talking about something else. So now only if you've got to the top of your worms will I be putting the food in. Oh, good job. Don't worry about the spills. Oh, okay.
So, we're just coming to the end of our little film here. Just like to say thank you to Jane for these lovely activities. Hope you're enjoying it at home still, and carry on making those wormeries and looking after your wildlife in your gardens or your parks. It'd be great. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
So we're going to put